very good evening and thank you so much for watching Uctv. My name is Nora Sende. It is Sunday, the 26th of May, 2024. It is a day that we get to discuss some of the news that is making headlines throughout the country. When we talk about things that are making headlines throughout the country, we can't help but talk about the National Population and Housing Census of 2024. This is an activity that comes only every after 10 years. And every after 10 years is a very long time. And so Ugandans prepared and we braced for it. Well, the National Population and Housing Census was due to take only 10 days. Well, it was extended for a few days. But with me in studio, we have an expert to discuss these details of why, an overview of the census, and we are going to look at many other details. The Senior Public Relations Officer of Uganda Bureau of Statistics, Didakas Okoth, is with me in studio, and he's going to dig right into it. I can't wait to hear what Didakas has to say. Didakas, you're very welcome, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nora, and thank you all the viewers. I'm glad to be on our TV, Uganda Catholic TV. It is a great privilege that we always get this opportunity to share information, especially on statistical matters, with our stakeholders who are the citizens of Uganda, who are the people who spent the census night in Uganda. And of course, I would like to inform our viewers that we have had a very successful census exercise, and I know we should breast for a very high quality statistical data and information in the next few months to come. And of course, the fact that we are conducting a digital census, which we are closing today, Sunday, the 26th of May 2024, I want to first of all give thanks to the institution, and I want to give very sincere thanks to our respondents, the people of Uganda. They have shown a lot of support, a lot of cooperation, and that great enthusiasm to be part of the census count, 2020 rounds of censuses across the world. And of course, this shows the kind of mindset that first of all we are developing as a country. You know, it is so happen that in some instances, people do not want to associate with national programs. And yet these are the programs that can lead us into the socio-economic transformation that we so desire. It can lead us into the development, achievement of our national and international development agenda. And therefore, we want to give a very sincere thanks to the respondents, the people who waited and they were there and able to respond to our field staff. There's so many questions, which of course were developed due to the public demand, due to the fact that we needed to fulfill a number of issues as it would be raised by our stakeholders during the consultative meetings as we intended to develop the questionnaire. So over and above, we are thankful to our population, but also we are very thankful to the local government staff, the CAOs, the planners, the district IT officers. These guys did a great job. And of course to the RDCs, the LSFI chairpersons, all the local government staff, they gave us a lot of support in ensuring that, the copies were well distributed in different enumeration areas, different villages, and they were able to ensure that they disseminated the census message to the lowest part of the population. Yes, we undertook a countrywide publicity activity. We ran adverts and so on TVs and radios, but these guys went ahead to communicate to their people in the local language, in the way they understand best, because they understand them more than we understand them.
Oh, yes.
And this was very, very great achievement that we must really give a big thanks to them. And I want to also take this opportunity before we go into the census detail to thank our field staff. the guys who braved the weather. I'm sure you saw a WhatsApp video where this young man was, moving in the water. He had carried his tablet up, and
Yes.
was moving through the water to
yes.
cross to the next household. Why? Because he needed to get, to capture the information of that other household that were located the other side of, the waters.
Right.
You saw another lady who was crossing kind of also water, the swamp or something. So, during the census enumeration period, which of course we are closing today, we witnessed a lot of support from the population, from the field staff and each and everybody. Therefore, we want to say that we have done a good job over and above with all this support.
Over and above.
Yes, we have done a good job. And we had to ensure that everything was in place and in time so that no one could be left behind. I don't know if I can talk about the extended period.
Now, talking about...
Or before I come there, you have something to say.
Yeah, talking about the good job that you did in regards to the population census of 2024, we see that so many people actually embraced this census, the first actually digital census, but it's interesting how it was fully embraced in the communities, especially, I must say, in the upcountry communities. Tell us a little bit about the difference between the census approval or embracement in the local areas in upcountry
Nora,
this side.
Nora, I want to tell you for a fact that I, for one, I would receive between 100 to 150 calls in a day.
Wow.
And I would miss some calls, maybe because I'm in a meeting. But when I would go back to look at the call schedule on my phone, you would find that I have gotten so many calls. All these calls were all coming because of the demand. We have not been counted. Where are the people?
Yes.
We are waiting. We are home. Which area? This area. My name is so-and-so. So we really felt the love, the passion, the support, the cooperation that the population exhibited. And it was not only upcountry, it was throughout the country. We got so many calls in the Greater Kampala. We got so many calls in the villages. If anybody felt they had not reached, census was like the thing. It became like, I must be part of it.
Oh, yes.
I must be part of it. And that's one thing that we would like to really celebrate as an institution, but even as a country. That level of support sometimes is not so common, but this time around, we felt it. We felt it. People wanted census. People went for it. You saw many leaders drawing posters, designing posters, and calling upon their people.
Oh, yes.
Please be there. Make sure you are counted. The politicians, the religious, the cultural, the business community, they all come on board to support the exercise. Indeed,
I saw a magnitude of people actually embracing this, right from the leaders, spiritual leaders, political leaders, at all levels of the community, no doubt. And I think we would really want to give the thumbs up to the public and to you both for pulling out one of the best census of
That's
all
why
times,
I
really.
told you early in the beginning that I don't think as a country we had ever witnessed this kind of support. The only difference when I did last week, there was a very objective article which was written by Dr. Mlira in the Daily Monitor. And he said, the headline read, "Why UBOS deserves praise for the 2024 census." And he talked about the digital application during this census. He talked about the training of people. He talked about the use of copies. He talked about the internet, and he talked about so many things. The only thing he brought out, which would be different from this past censuses, because he said that, I don't remember the year, but he quoted, I think in the 90s, that he was an enumerator in his area.
Yes.
And for them, they did it like voluntarily. They were not even paid for it. They were given questionnaires,
yes.
They went to the village, and they collected information. So the only difference is that now our mentality is I must be paid.
Right.
The citizen must be paid. So I think that's another difference I see in the past censuses and this one. But also, the other difference is the technological application that we have, the government has invested in this census is now different from all the past, 11 censuses since the colonial period. All these other 6 censuses, this is the independence time. That now this time we are using tablets, we are using copies, and we are able to enter data right in the field into these tablets, and this information is easily moved or transferred to the servers in the data center at the bureau. So that is the speed at which the information has been trailing. But also, this gives us an opportunity to appreciate the use of technology because it comes with a lot of efficiency, it comes with a lot of speed,
Yes.
We are no longer going to get a paper questionnaire and first of all type the information to the computer and start processing.
Right.
This information is already processed in terms of data collection. All now we need to do is our technical team to sit together, start analyzing, and putting whatever is supposed to be wherever it is supposed to be before we can begin to share this very important information with the public.
Right. And Didakus, you've talked about some of the green ticks that have happened in this population census, which no doubt we totally agree because we've seen it and we've witnessed and heard of some of the past censuses. But these by all means, takes the day. However, we also saw a little bit of hiccups here and there, especially in the Greater Kampala. And we can't overlook some of these hiccups that transpired.
You see, when you are planning, you must have the risks that could come and what would be the positives. I've already spoken about the positives, but we had, of course, few challenges that we experienced. But of course, we want to thank God that these challenges were quickly addressed. Oh yes, quickly addressed. For example, the challenge which was caused by lack of some enumeration areas in the map or in the system. This was easily sorted because we empowered the local government to ensure that they assign an enumeration area on individual tablets so that the enumerators could go and work. And that's why you saw that actually in the villages, it so happened that work was very, very peaceful and moving on well. We only had that challenge in Greater Kampala. But of course, it was all sorted within day one. And by when we go to Saturday 11th, we're moving on very smoothly. Of course, the other challenge that we had was some of the enumerators complaining that they had not been given their money in time or their training allowance in time. But you see, what I think the trainers did not explain to them was that they were supposed to be paid directly on their phone. And that one, my executive director had always emphasized and said publicly, we shall pay money to the last beneficiary. We're not going to pay money to anybody. That's why we're going to use the e-cash payment system. Now, what does that require? The e-cash payment system requires that you have your name and your telephone contact matching the way it would match on your national ID.
Exactly.
Are we together? Now, this data was supposed to be collected at the district level or the division level and then given to the bureau. For us, our function was simply to ensure that money is paid, but it so happened that some few local governments, of course, did not ensure that all their field staff were recruited online. Because remember, as we talked of digital census, even recruitment was online. And therefore, whoever was online in the online system, their details were well captured. Now, these others who came or who were recruited outside the system are the ones, most of them had that challenge. But of course, what brought the biggest delay was submission of this information by the district, the division, to the bureau so that the money could be processed. But we are glad, as I speak to you today, I think all our enumerators and supervisors have been paid. And the few who are still having challenges, we are actually urging them to go and get in touch with the district census officer, who's mostly the planner of the district, and our district census commissioner representatives, who actually UBOS, most of them are UBOS staff, to ensure that they submit the information, that detail can be transferred to the bureau, and they receive their money. Because the government gave us resources, the money is there, the planning was done.
Right.
So once we have the information, the money will be paid. And I actually want to urge the public, I want to urge those who are viewing us, that everyone will be paid for as long as that list has been sanctioned by the authority at the division level, who's the town clerk or city clerk or the cow, because they are the ones who can confirm to us that you worked. So for as long as you worked, you're on the list, the cow has signed, the money will be paid based on the details of the information given to us. So that's it.
All right. So they should be rest assured that that money will definitely be paid.
Definitely it will be paid.
To the enumerators.
Yes,
it's just a matter of time and some bit of patience that needs to be involved there. Let us go a little bit back to the field. Enumeration was carried out on ground by enumerators. We just want to understand what is the coverage so far now that we are, concluding.
You see, as of Sunday, last Sunday, that was 19th, when we were supposed to be concluding the exercise.
Yes, the 19th.
We had hit 98% with the total household coverage of 10.4, I think 7 million households we had covered completely. Now, the 2% which was pending were mainly in Greater Kampala and few districts that experienced weather conditions, the landslide, some roads were cut off, so the work could not start in time and the work could not move smoothly. So these few areas are the areas that we are now combing, what we call, we are mopping up Greater Kampala, Mukono Wakiso, Kampala, Capital City Authority, and those few districts that had issues. So this period has actually given us an opportunity to ensure that we have complete coverage of all households. We have been calling upon the population that if you feel you have not been counted and you're in any area around this country, please just make an appointment with your LC1 chairperson. They'll get in touch with the supervisor of the area, with the enumerators, and ensure you are counted. We have also taken initiative as the Bureau to actually make phone calls to any contact that is within our reach. The parliamentarians, the ministers, the religious leaders, the cultural leaders, to call them and find out, have you been enumerated? And if we establish that any was still pending, we would actually quickly reach out and ensure they are counted. But then in the recent press release, which was issued by my executive director, Dr. Chris Mukiza, he actually listed out 11 telephone contacts with areas of responsibility to ensure that anybody within that area can easily reach out. And I will read those contacts when you give me the opportunity.
Yes, sure.
I'll read out those contacts. So that you just call, we shall schedule you, shall schedule the numerator, shall come and count you. We also put the general lines, 2 general lines. In fact, among the general lines, one is my number. One is also for another colleague. You can reach out, call us, and we shall come and ensure you are counted.
Well, I see you've put so much into place to make sure that, this exercise reaches a logical conclusion, like everyone is enumerated, and the institution is doing so much to make sure that it is, it is done and it's done well. Now, there was an extension, as you earlier on mentioned, What led to this extension of the days leading to the conclusion today?
Yeah, I think I already explained that. And I say that when we hit 98%, it meant that we're not yet at 100%. And for us as an institution, our mandate is to collect statistical information and be able to disseminate this information within a certain period of time. Now, when we are doing censuses and surveys, an activity of national population housing census, it calls for complete coverage of each and every household within the country. And also complete coverage of each and everyone who would have spent the night, or the census night. It is actually the reference night that all questions within the census could relate to or will relate to. So, when we realized that Greater Kampala still had issues, some house was not yet covered, that's why we requested for that extension of the 5 days. And we are glad to the cabinet that we were granted these 5 days, and I can assure you we have made very good use of it. We have actually tried to mop up, we have put our telephone contacts out there to ensure that people can easily reach us within this period and ensure complete coverage. And I want to continue to urge our people, our citizens, the public, that Sunday marks the closure officially, and we would request that if you have not been counted yet, please, you can call on those telephone contacts that I will read later, so that we can still ensure you're enumerated.
Okay, and then I think that gives leeway for everyone who feels like they haven't been counted.
In instance, we do not want any citizen tomorrow to come and say, I wasn't counted.
Yes.
So these 5 days that we have been running was really a waiver period for us to ensure complete coverage.
Nice.
Yes, complete coverage.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now that we are still, we are ending or concluding the enumeration today officially in regards to the National Population and Housing Census, it has been a digital census really, and things have been different, carried out differently. Tell me about the results. Do we expect the results any soon, or what is it going to look like?
When we launched census on the 12th of December 2023, His Excellency launched the census officially. There are key things that he launched on that day. One, he launched our census logo. 2, he launched the census roadmap. Now, the census roadmap, if I'm speaking from today, it states that in June, the country will have what we call the preliminary results. In that roadmap, by September, the country will have what we call provisional results. The same roadmap, which was signed by the President, says that by December, we shall have the final report of census. So, that is how technology is fastening this process. If I recall, in 2014 census, the census was done around August 2014, but the results were disseminated in March. I think March 2016, 2 years later, almost 2 years later. But now here we are talking about months. So that's a lot of efficiency and effectiveness.
I can see you really happy and, upbeat about the digital census and the advantages that came with it, and so much more to that. Well, we are concluding today, and if you have not exactly been enumerated, Dida Castle-Coth is a Senior Public Relations Officer of Uganda Bureau of Statistics, and he's going to give us details of how we could do it with the contacts that you were telling us about.
Thank you, Nora. Yes. Allow me to read this detailed contacts, telephone. They are mobile, actually, mobile telephone contacts. That means that you will be reaching people directly, and these people are responsible for certain areas. We have 0772 369 0772 369 579. This person or this telephone contact is responsible for Kawempe division. We have 0772 483 430, 0772 483 403. This person is responsible for Makindye division. We have 0772 411 067, 772 411 067, Kampala Central and Makindye Sabagabo. Then we have 0782 350 589, 0782 350 589. This person is responsible for Baga division. We have 0772 520 119, 0772 520 119, Nakawa division. We have 0772 407 860, 0772 407 860. This person is responsible from Wakiso and Mukono districts. We have 0772 492 162, 0772 492 162. Also responsible for Wakiso and Mukono districts. You know, these districts are very big. Wakiso is very big, but even Mukono is big.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why we have put 2 telephone contacts there. Actually, there are 3. The third one is 0773 312 792, 0773 312 792. This one is responsible for Wakiso. We have 2 general lines, 0755 342 128. It's a general line. We have all we can get information from across the whole country. Also, there's another one, 0779 129 204, is also a general line which can capture information from across the whole country. So by reading this, what is our expectation from the public? That we have a complete coverage, that we do not leave any household behind or not counted, that they can easily schedule. They can call us, we shall schedule an appointment with them, and we shall go at their convenience and ensure they are counted. So what do we expect at the end of the day? That we have 100% coverage of our country. The 2024 census, it matters to be counted. That is our slogan.
Yes.
It matters to be counted. What does that mean? That everyone matters in this census. Every citizen, every household, every person, whether you are disabled, whether you're old, whether you're a child, whether you're an adult, whether you're a youth, you matter to be part of this census. And that is our humble call to the public.
Well, thank you so much, Didacus. It has been nice having you, and thank you so much for giving us those insights. And yes, it really does matter to be counted. It is UCTV. My name is Nora Sende. I've been discussing with Didacus Okoth, who is the Senior Public Relations Officer of Uganda Bureau of Statistics, giving us insights and giving us an overview of how the National Population and Housing Census of 2024 has been. No doubt, it has been a very successful event, a process. Well, and you heard him. If you have not yet been counted, the numbers have been given to you, the doors are open, the lines are open. It really does matter to be counted. And as we conclude today, we wish everyone and we congratulate everyone who has given in their time to be counted. And we wish for those who have not yet been counted to please, please, please give a call or contact your local leaders. They will surely be in position to help. My name is Nora Sende. This is UCTV. A very wonderful evening to you.